June 30th. Find out all the details and upload your recording at afr.net/10 Commandments. That's afr.net/10 Commandments.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
All right, welcome everybody to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening on this Thursday, June the 27th, 2024. Joining me in studio is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Hey, good morning, Tim. I plan on making this the best June 27th, 2024 I've ever had.
Well, I admire that optimism. Huh?
Yes.
We haven't even made it to the debate tonight. You're already
you had to bring that up.
Chris Woodward. Good morning, Chris.
There's a debate tonight?
Yeah, we'll be here.
You're a newsman, Chris.
Yes,
you know these things.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Ray Pritchard.
Hey, Jim, how you doing this morning?
Question is, how are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Had to go to the urgent care this morning to get my ankle x-rayed, and they said it's okay. So
Please tell me you didn't fall off a bike again.
It's the same ankle that I had all the stuff on 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And last week when I was in Oregon, I evidently walked too much. I walked 104,000 steps last week, which is according to my Fitbit thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 104,000 steps, and evidently I aggravated things. My left ankle told me I should slow down and rest.
Oh, okay. So you just overused it.
That's right. I didn't break anything again.
Okay. You didn't re-injure it or anything.
104,000 steps in a week?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a BA in communication, okay, one math, but that's 14,857 steps a day.
Oh,
How'd you do that quick?
I Googled. Because
That's
I'm not
good.
that guy.
That's good. Well, I was on the beach, and hey, there's nothing better in the morning than walking on the beach, right? You know, it's great.
But 14,000 steps
Good for you.
day.
Yeah. And evidently, my left ankle has lodged an objection.
Okay, but what did he do? Tell you take 2 aspirin coffee tomorrow morning, or what?
Take ibuprofen. Well, okay. If you want to know what the nurse practitioner said, she said you ought to go home, put some ice on it, elevate it, and she said you ought to have a margarita. And I don't really, I don't realize that's
right.
True. That's what she said.
Be sober, be vigilant, Ray.
That's right. So I've got my Diet Pepsi. That's as close as I'm
There
coming.
you go. That's as close to a margarita as you're going to get.
That's exactly right. But I did take some ibuprofen. So
you're sort of wasted away again on Diet Pepsi.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Caffeine overload.
See what I did there?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Margaritaville.
All right. Thank you for joining us, everybody, on the program today. Raised in Kansas City, we're in Tupelo, and we thank you for listening wherever across the fruited plain or high atop a mountain. You may be listening to American
Or on a beach
Family or on a beach.
somewhere.
Just watch sharks. Watch for sharks.
Well, unless there are sand sharks, I'm not getting close.
Oh. Are you going to the beach this summer?
No, our plan, my wife and our plan is to go in October
Okay.
when the sharks are, when they've migrated.
Oh, did they
south.
leave?
They migrate south for the winter.
Well, you're getting ankle deep, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you even getting that? Okay.
Yeah, I told you since I saw Jaws,
Right.
1975, I haven't been in the
Right.
ocean
Right.
over my ankles.
That shook you. Jaws shook you for
Yes.
40, 50 years.
In high school, we used to, off the coast of New England, we used to swim way over our head. And Jaws clued me in that in that deep water, there are things under there that can hurt you.
I don't know that I've ever seen that movie in its entirety.
I think that's.
I don't know what to say
I think
to
it's.
that.
I think it's morally
What are
neutral. I don't think
Sounds communist to me.
it's a communist thing.
You've never seen Jaws.
Jaws.
I mean, I've seen bits and pieces. I might have seen it in its entirety at some point.
Well,
I know they
that-
made many sequels.
Chris, I'll just synopsize it for you.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
It's about sharks eating people.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they build.
Now I don't need to watch it.
They
Yeah.
build a storyline around that.
My daughter-in-law has
How does it
never,
go, Ray?
Do 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 do
Yeah.
do, and it gets and when the and then
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
that's right.
Oh, you know the theme music, do you, Chris?
I am aware of that. Was that John Williams that did that as well? I know he did
I
a
think
lot
that's
of the
I
Black
think that's
Panthers.
John.
Let's
Williams.
say yes. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say my daughter-in-law has never seen. She's like you,
Mhm.
has only seen bits and pieces of A Christmas Story.
Bits and pieces of Jaws. I like that.
Oh,
That
I
was-
wasn't
that's pretty
intending
good.
to do
That was
that.
pretty bad.
But the
though.
movie about the BB gun, kid with the BB gun, she's never seen that whole thing.
How is that humanly possible?
I know.
You talking about the Toy Story thing?
Christmas Story.
No, Christmas Story.
Oh, Chris.
boy
I say,
wants
how
the
is that
BB gun.
possible? Because it comes on every year, and one channel does it for like 24
And
hours.
that's where she'll slip in, watch a few minutes.
Yeah.
She's never seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that happens when you're like us and you're
Yeah.
old.
She's
and
got
young
other
people
commitments.
are decades away from the movies you grew up with.
Well, will the Sharks be circling tonight in Atlanta? That would be my next question.
Nice transition.
You like that?
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about today. We have no guest, I don't think, lined up. So we
It's
four,
just us.
we four, and then Steve Paisley Jordahl. We'll have to carry this show.
I'll do my best.
Okay. So, Chris, over to you at the news desk. What's
Yes,
the
there
first
is a
story?
debate tonight between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, as we have discussed many a time on this program now. It's going to be on CNN, at CNN headquarters. There is not going to be a live audience. Jake Tapper, a man Donald Trump refers to as Fake Tapper, is one of the two moderators. The other is
This is in
female Dana
Atlanta,
Bash.
right?
It's in Atlanta. It will be on CNN. It will be on CNN.com, Max, formerly known as HBO Max. NPR is going to air it. There will be a live stream there. Fox is also going to televise it, even though it's a CNN product. I'm
What?
sure you can find it in other places. Yes.
I said, what? No, wait, explain that one to me. Fox is going to air it even though it's CNN.
Yes, which is a weird thing, but this is a weird election, right? They are going to simulcast Fox's or CNN's programming on Fox tonight. They are going to televise
Fox
on
is,
CNN.
and
product.
CNN's good with that?
Mhm. Yep.
I never heard
Well,
of that.
it probably it makes CNN accessible to the Fox audience.
Right.
So they may hope to get some eyeballs going forward.
They have aired it. They've mentioned it in live TV reports. They've done graphics during ads. They're out there letting people know that you can watch this CNN debate between Biden and Trump on Fox. So you have plenty of options tonight if you want to do it. I do want to say that we do, if the Lord tarries, plan on anchoring during and after the debate tonight. So do keep it right here on this network for coverage.
So
We're going to
American
watch it.
Family Radio. So what will that look like? You'll have commentary before it starts. Will you Will you come in when they're having a commercial break?
No, we will do live top of the hour newscasts. It begins at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. It's supposed to go about 90 minutes.
I wonder
So
why they're starting so late.
it's to capitalize on a large audience. It's prime time.
9 o'clock Eastern?
It seems late, yes.
That
But you're
does-
getting a huge show. You got Atlanta, which is a huge market, one of the top markets in the country, and then you've got Central Time viewers, prime.
Well, I
prime
mean,
time
for
them as well.
Central Time viewers, but it's not late. I mean, 8 o'clock. But I'm just thinking East Coast. I would have thought they'd have started 1 hour earlier.
I would have started at probably
At
7, 8 o'clock. yeah.
7 Central, 8 Eastern. But anyway, we'll see. Do you have any idea? Ray, have you read how many people are likely to be watching this tonight?
They are saying most Americans, if surveys are to be believed, most Americans are going to watch at least part of the debate tonight. So this is, if either guy makes a major gaffe or either guy loses it or Joe Biden drifts off or Donald Trump goes on some kind of weird rant, anything's possible, right? But this is a debate that could actually change the whole focus of the campaign going forward.
I saw a video a few minutes ago from CNN, and they had two guys who are reporters on the actual stage where Trump and Biden will be. And they demonstrated how the microphones will work. So each of the fellows there will have a red and well, I saw the green light. I didn't see the red light. I'm assuming they have a red light, but so they'll know my microphone is on or my microphone is off. And then they demonstrated how if your microphone is off, you really can't hear you. Whereas in previous debates, if they get into a free-for-all or one person talking over another one, you could hear it, and it was very disruptive, right?
Yes.
In this case, from what I could tell, what they were demonstrating, you're just not hardly going to be able to. So if one of the others starts talking over the other one's answers, which will happen within the first 5 minutes of this debate tonight, you can write that one down. You write that in your book.
I will.
In your notebook there. Then that you won't be able to hear them. You may be able to see them. I don't know if they'll probably do a split screen, but you're not going to be able to hear them really.
I wonder, and this is we're just spitballing here. We'll all find out tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. But I wonder if they'll give each candidate 15 seconds to wrap up, or when your 90 seconds is up or your 60 seconds is up, boom, you're cut off.
That I don't know, but it has already been announced and widely reported that Trump will have the closing arguments, which I find very interesting.
The closing arguments.
He's basically going to be the last one that will be able to speak, like at the very end of the debate after they've argued with one another about all the issues. So even though it's a friendly environment for Joe Biden, and that's an understatement, Donald Trump will be able to be the one with the last word.
All right.
Well, I think the pressure is so to speak, Ray, is kind of on CNN.
Yeah.
Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, because everybody's expecting them. I say everybody. They are, a lot of people are expecting them to favor Biden and Trump won't get a fair shake. Okay. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know, because I think those two people and CNN will try to be fair. And because they know the whole world's watching them.
Yeah.
Huh? You think so?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think now there's fair and there's fair. Now, fair would be to ask difficult questions, politically difficult questions for both candidates. But just because you appear to be even-handed in the way you treat both candidates doesn't make you unbiased. If they focus, I'm talking about Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, if they focus the questions on Trump, your conviction, January 6th, and then give softball questions to Joe Biden, that's a form of bias that's just as clear as if
that'll be noticeable too, though.
Yes.
I think they'll give both guys hard questions. Mm-hmm. I think where Trump and the media get into loggerheads, Ray,
right,
is when Trump has his own set of facts. Okay, he does, and sometimes he's right, maybe even a lot of times. But the media and Biden does too. But same thing. Biden has his own set of stories and facts. Right. Okay,
just asking Corn Pop.
Yeah, I mean both of them do, and maybe it's just human nature. I don't know. We all have our experiences, and we all see things through our own lens. But what's going to happen is at least, they're going to say stuff like Mr. Trump or former President Trump, you lost the last election by 10,000 votes in this state, 5,000 votes in that state. How are you expecting to win those people back up? And he's going to say, no, I didn't. I had the most votes in the history of humankind.
Yes.
And then they're going to say, sir, that's just not true. That's just factually inaccurate.
Because with President Trump, it's hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he says it's going to be the best ever, or it was the greatest.
He says that about everything.
Yeah, I know.
His hair. He said that about his hair the other day.
Yes. And that's just.
So how do you fact check that?
Yeah, you
That's what I'm saying. This could
They do
devolve.
fact check that. Remember, when he was president, you'd have these statements from the media saying he has lied 4,384 times, and they were using those kinds of
see,
statements and calling it a lie.
I'm
And-
just telling you that it's tenuous where we could go with this tonight. It could get into, because Trump's the kind of guy. I mean, he remember he sent Sean Spicer out there day one to argue about the size of his inauguration
yes.
crowd. Remember that? My
Right.
crowd was
I-
bigger.
Yeah.
My
than
crowd.
Obama's.
He sent him out there to say my crowd was bigger than Obama's.
Yeah.
So that
Sean Spicer.
you remember that?
That's a blast from the past.
You remember that? Well,
Yeah.
the media is going to go, sir. We have pictures.
Yeah.
Your audio.
But they'll call that a lie. And all Trump is
Who
doing,
call that what a lie?
they'll call that
Yeah.
statement a lie. No, you didn't have the largest statement. And what Trump is doing is just bloviating. I mean,
Related-
it's just,
Anyway, maybe this won't happen. Maybe we'll have substance
yeah.
and a deep dive into policy. But I just
That's
now,
what we used to expect. I hope that's
right.
what we
Go ahead,
get.
Ray.
Well, let me make my prediction here because I think the great question is which Trump is going to show up tonight. Remember, there were two debates with Joe Biden back in 2020. In the first one, we got that loud, bellicose Donald Trump interrupting, ranting. He turned that whole debate upside down. It did not work very well. In the second, there were only two, remember, only two debates with Joe Biden. In the second one, he was, for Donald Trump, much more measured, much more thoughtful, and so on. Let me say it just clearly. I think this is Donald Trump's debate to lose tonight. He's leading. He's pulling away a little bit in the polls. If Donald Trump from the second debate shows up tonight, he's going to walk away the winner, and he will have gone way down the road to getting himself elected back into the White House in November. If the first Donald Trump shows up tonight, and you just never know, I think that's going to be disastrous for his campaign.
You're listening to the radio program Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Ray, and Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, related to your question about the media's treatment of Trump over Biden, if you are of the opinion that CNN is completely in the tank for Joe Biden and they're going to do everything to make him look better than Donald Trump, this will only add to your argument. And I shared this link on our Today's Issues Facebook page, both on the page and in the comments for this show. According to the Daily Caller, CNN has not conducted a single fact check of President Biden since announcing they were hosting the first presidential debate on May 15th, a review of the outlet's fact-checking page shows. The last Biden fact check on CNN's fact check page was on May 14th, when Biden falsely claimed that inflation was at 9% when he took office. Since then, CNN has fact-checked former President Donald Trump 11 times.
Well, CNN's liberal.
Yeah.
And like Fox is conservative. And
Right.
so they're going to, Fox favors Trump, CNN favors Biden.
Yeah.
MSNBC, they favor communism. You know, I mean, so, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's no surprise, I guess you could say. And that's why people don't watch or
Yeah.
trust CNN anymore.
Right.
Because because of the reasons some of the reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah. I think Donald Trump has an advantage here because he has the ability to point back to all of the problems that Americans have experienced since Joe Biden took the oath of office. The economy is bad and whatnot, and Trump can say it was better under me. All
Yes.
we hear from Biden is that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy.
I'm just curious. I know a lot of people are waiting to see how Trump does, but I'm just wondering, Biden, is he going to be able to answer questions coherently? Is he going to be able to present himself in a way that seems like he's, going to defy the what we've seen with our eyes for the last year or two? You know what I'm saying? Because if he comes now, listen, as I've said yesterday, I think 95% of Americans, 90 to 95% of Americans could vote today the same way they're going to vote in November. I think that's pretty well established. Maybe you got 5 to 10% of people out there going, Biden, Trump, I just don't know. I'm just having to, you know what I'm saying? I just don't know. But I think for most people, their minds are made up. But maybe maybe that matters, those 5 to 10%. And this is just my guessing numbers here on how many people may not have decided. But Biden, he can't fall asleep during the Of course, the bar is set so low.
Mm-hmm. That would be a disaster. No, listen, this same thing kind of happened in 2020 in the first debate. I was not expecting Biden to do very well in terms of his ability to focus. I think that's why Donald Trump kept trying to interrupt. He was trying to rattle Biden to get him to say something outlandish. I think, and Biden surprised me. Okay, so I think the expectations with the bar being set so low, the expectations of Biden being what we've seen over the last 3 years plus, if he is able to sound coherent and is able to go back and forth, whether it's with the moderators or Trump or whatever, have some back and forth and seem to be on his toes, I think that will bode well for him in terms of the perception that the voters have. But if he tanks,
who tanks?
If Joe Biden tanks and he nods off or starts to mumble like he's done when he's spoken in public, or he says something outlandishly untrue, I think that hurts him.
Do you think if I were Trump, I'd stick with the border, inflation, crime?
Yes. Those are winning arguments.
And if you want to throw in, I don't want boys and girls sports,
which he has done at many campaign events.
That's another winner right there, don't you think?
Yeah, and he has to have a good comeback for the questions and the Biden statements that are sure to come about convictions being in court for the next year or two, and January 6th. He has to have good replies for those that deflect, that toss back at
What does
Biden.
he say about January 6th?
Well,
I think that's going to come up.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. What does he say?
I don't know. It's between him and his handlers. I think he would say the accusations against me are false. These were people who felt passionately that the election had been stolen. They went down to the Capitol, and some people broke the law, and they've been punished for it. But I had nothing to do with it. And in terms of all the other stuff, the legal troubles, I think he throws this back and says this is clearly a weaponized Justice Department, and this is an attempt to have Mr. Biden, President Biden's competitor for the election, thrown in jail. And I've done nothing wrong. And I don't want to debate things that are currently in court. We're gonna fight in court. I want to talk about why most people can't afford to buy food anymore.
I think the silent mic may save Trump tonight.
Well, that's a good point.
Because the demonstration, Ray, I saw you can't hear that. You can barely hear the other person talking. And what I'm saying is,
were they separated by?
Yeah, they were separated. Distance? Yeah, by about, to me, about 20 feet maybe. I personally don't think Trump can help himself from talking over. I'll be shocked because he's the boss, and nobody ever.
The more he ignores Joe Biden and just speaks to the American people,
you're right.
the better he'll
looking
be
at
tonight.
the camera.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll do that. And not. But I'm saying, but in this case, even if he is talking over him, you won't be able to hear him, and that's what I mean by that. Actually, that may help Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the Trump v. Biden debate tonight on CNN, or you can watch it on Fox, which is stealing from CNN to show their. I don't know who will argue they have the biggest audience. We'll have to wait and see on that. We'll be back in a minute.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
Let me tell you something you already know. Every one of us has problems. Now, we do not all have the same problems, but we do all have problems. No one goes sailing through life without hitting a high wave occasionally. Too often in our problems, we think other people turn their backs on us, and sometimes they do. But many times it isn't that others turn their backs on us. It is simply that we have a defensive attitude, which causes us to expect others to reject us. In other words, we look for rejection on their part. We need to remember when we're in the midst of a problem that not near as many people know about it as we may think. Human capability is such that we don't know everything about every person at all times, and that is good. It doesn't help to face our problems by being touchy about them either. I learned early in life that if you carried a chip on your shoulder, someone would try to knock it off. So I try to carry my chip in my back pocket, hidden from the view of those who get their kicks from knocking other people. I will share my problems with my close friends whom I know will try to help and understand, but I see no need to broadcast them to everyone I meet. Don't become defensive if you happen to have problems that other people are aware of. Your defensiveness will often cause you to look for faults. Once I was visiting in a home where there were some problems. Several people in the town knew of those problems. A young boy in that home had run afoul of the law, and it had brought embarrassment to the family. As I was visiting, one of the parents remarked that they were in a certain place and a person whom they knew happened to be there. The parent of the young boy said that the other person didn't bother to speak. The parent thought, quite naturally, that the other person didn't speak because of the trouble the boy had had with the law, and obviously felt hurt because of it. I then explained to the parent that the person who didn't speak probably didn't recognize the parent. That other person was probably concerned with the problems she had, which the parent wasn't aware of, but I knew of them. And the other person's problems were far more severe and serious. Yet very few people were even aware that that person who didn't speak even had any problem at all. Don't follow your urge to become defensive when problems come your way. Don't wear your chip on your shoulder. Very few people will turn their backs on you because you have problems. And just remember that you aren't the only person in the world who has problems. We all do. Quite often another person might have problems which you know nothing about, problems far more serious than yours. So when you have problems which others are aware of, don't become defensive. Just treat people as you would want them to treat you.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
In him we were also chosen as God's own, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything by the counsel of his will, in order that we, who were the first to hope in Christ, would be for the praise of his glory. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 11 and 12.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Chris, and Ray, and we thank you for listening. Ed, how can people watch this here show on that there internet?
Well, if they would like to watch the live video stream, there are currently 4 ways to do it.
And we're streaming right now, baby.
We're streaming
Watch
and
the
steaming.
stream.
That's right.
Huh?
You want me to actually do this?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah. Are you going to
no.
stream while
I'm going to stream while you promote us.
All right. So if you want to watch Tim stream, okay, you can go to Facebook, search for Today's Issues. You can go to YouTube and search for Today's Issues Live. We encourage you to go to our own streaming platform, stream.afa.net, stream.afa.net. AFR.net.
I'm doing it on sport. I'm doing sports moves.
Watch Tim throw the long ball. Or you can go to X, formerly known as Twitter, and search for American Family Radio, and whatever program is streaming the video live at that time, you can watch live.
Do you think that 10 years from now we're going to be going X, formerly known as Twitter?
I will. Nobody else will.
We're still going to be talking about COVID-19.
What do you say, Ray?
I think we're still going to call it Twitter. I can't get used to calling it X.
It's just awkward.
It's weird.
To say I saw this post on X.
I agree with Elon Musk's decisions on most things, but I wish he wouldn't have changed.
Yeah.
The name, it did need a name change. I don't
Right.
think.
It's a bad move. What a dumb billionaire. What a dumb billionaire that literally sends rockets into space.
My favorite of his companies, and he owns a bunch, and he owns one that involves a big drill that does drilling underneath the ground, obviously, or under the ground. But it's called the Boring Company, which it just, SpaceX, Twitter, Tesla, the Boring Company,
That tells us more about you, Chris, than it does about Elon Musk.
It's just funny. Like, you couldn't come up with a better name.
It's a dad joke.
Yeah.
It's a dad joke when he calls it the Boring Company.
Okay, next story, Chris.
All right. This is one of 11 billion speculation stories. But
Let's speculate.
There's a article out. This first appeared in, I believe it was the New York Times. Yes. Trump's VP parade nears its end. Does anybody have a guess as to which three people the New York Times think?
I sent you that article, so I already know.
Okay. Ray, any
Ray,
guesses?
do you know?
I do not know. Okay, let me see if I can guess one. Okay, J.D. Vance.
Yes.
J.D. Vance is on there,
Senator from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess Tim Scott.
No,
He's not on there.
no. Bing. Back to you in Kansas City, Ray.
Okay.
I did whatever sound
Tim
I just
Scott's on
made.
it, I'm
This
kind of
qualified.
disappointed.
I'm reaching here. Ben Carson, maybe.
No.
No. So he didn't make it.
No.
Ouch.
Yeah, you back to. I'm sorry, Ray, but
I'm
back to
not
you,
really a Ben
Mr.
Carson
Battagliano,
fan in terms of the vice
Family
presidential
Feud.
slot.
We've got the thing up there.
Family-
We're flipping the words. up
Survey
there, Family
said-
Feud.
Um,
Survey says.
I got
Ray
one. I got one. I got another
one.
guess.
So
I got
give
another
us
guess.
who you got. There's two other people that
I got
are.
a guess.
I'm going to say
Go
Burgum.
ahead.
I'm going to say Burgum,
Uh,
the North Dakota
you don't even
governor.
know his first name.
John, Doug,
Big John. Big John Burke.
Bill, Big
You
John.
don't even know his first name.
Big John.
What's his name?
It's Doug. Clearly, it's Doug. Doug Burgum.
Doug.
Burgum.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like
Burger.
Doug, like
Yeah.
on King of Queens. Doug.
Yes, exactly.
Same thing. Same thing.
He actually is the governor. Or is he
North Dakota.
former?
No, he's the current.
He's the governor of North Dakota. You're correct, sir. Doug Burgum is one of the two. So you have Burgum and you have Vance. Who's the third one?
Here's my guess. Just a long shot here. Sarah Huckabee. I've heard her name thrown.
Sarah
Okay, well,
Sanders.
that you know
Yes,
Who
what?
have been
Thank
voted
you.
off the island.
Okay, I'm done.
That's
done.
actually a decent guess, and we don't know who the choice would be. But these three people we're naming is who people close to the
Marco
campaign.
Rubio, then.
Yes,
I'm going to say
Little
Marco.
Marco.
Rubio.
Rubio.
Yeah.
Huh.
Senator
So-
from Florida, little
So he
Marco
made the
Rubio
final cut.
Yes.
will be.
So those three?
According to the New York Times, in one of many speculation stories, other
Okay.
short
New York
lists
Times
have
has-
many of the names you guys have mentioned.
Wait
so-
a minute, then. If those are the last three, according to New York Times, let's each one make a guess who we
Okay.
think the final choice. If that really is, those are only three choices. I'm going to stick with my man J.D. Vance.
I'm going to go with Marco Rubio.
Okay.
I'm
as
going to
the
say
pick.
Vance because the argument in the war room will be this will help us win Ohio. In every election, we hear how a Republican must win Ohio to get the White House.
Well,
I don't think anybody cares anymore. I think our elections have been nationalized.
well, I think Ohio's red
Yeah.
for the most.
Who do you pick?
Vance.
Vance?
Yeah.
I personally don't think he has enough political experience to be one bullet away or one cheeseburger and heart attack away from the White House.
Well, I only say that because I'm giving in to peer pressure.
Right, he already had
He's
two votes.
Well,
Term
his
senator.
name keeps popping up as a
It does.
favorite among the MAGA crowd, and he is a senator from Ohio,
First term, though, right?
first term, but so was Obama, first term when he got
we all
elected
know what that
president.
was about.
Right. Well, yes, that's true.
Well,
but
Vance wrote that best-selling book. What is it? Hillbilly Elegy.
Yes.
yeah,
He's a writer.
Which
And
is
as
good,
a writer, I'm offended.
offended
It's
by
a good
what?
book. I read
I don't
the
know.
book.
I'm just saying.
I've never read it.
Maybe I don't know, but maybe the theory would be he could help with the
Hillbilly
blue-collar
vote?
Yeah. That's right. Thank you. The hillbilly vote.
You almost got me.
There in
That was
Michigan,
that was almost a
Wisconsin,
Diet Coke
Pennsylvania.
splatter.
Yeah.
What did you say?
The Rust Belt. Maybe he could help in the Rust Belt. Maybe that's the thought.
Now, J.D. Vance he's very smart. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
He's a good, solid. Seems to be a good,
well-spoken.
solid constitutionalist.
Part of me would still like to see, only through the debate with Vice President Kamala Harris, I would like to see Trump pick Vivek Ramaswamy just for that debate.
There would be nothing.
Now,
CNN would simulcast that and put it on their network.
Now, Ramaswamy, and I'm just saying it because I like saying his name, he'll wind up in a Trump administration doing something.
Sure.
Hey, I could see him doing like small business or being some sort of like a tech envoy or something to try to.
I don't think Doug Burgum will be the choice simply because I just don't think you can have two billionaires in the same White House. Burgum's going to have his own ideas. I'm not sure he would. I'm not sure those two would.
He could be picked for like again, and all this is hypothetical if Trump gets elected and ends up becoming the president this time next year. But he could be like Secretary of the Interior or Energy, given North Dakota's vast resources on those areas.
All right, next story, Chris.
But by the way, I do have a question for you, Chris, on this.
Mhm.
Now, President Trump said that his vice presidential pick is going to be there.
Yes.
Obviously, there's no audience. Does he mean simply talking to the media afterwards, or what?
I don't know, and I say that based on the fact that there have been a lot of reports on it's going to be this person or it's going to be that person. That was 2 weeks ago, maybe. Trump was quoted by Fox News, which is seemingly in line with Trump. He was quoted by Fox News as saying he would announce the person at the convention. And then there were other news stories quoting Trump as saying, and I didn't hear the man say it. I haven't seen the video. We haven't aired the clip to my knowledge. There have been other reports that the pick would be there tonight.
It's always at the convention. I mean, as far back as I can remember.
Well, Romney picked Paul Ryan ahead of the convention. It was that summer.
He did?
He did. There was a big rollout. They announced that person, and again, that was one of those elections where it was done very late, and then they do the whole kissing babies and shaking hands.
I may just be thinking that because I'm blocking out Mitt Romney as a Republican candidate for president.
Right. 2012 seems like 50 years ago, right?
Well,
he's
he's such a bad candidate.
Yeah. That was an interesting election because you had a sitting president who arguably had no reason being reelected, and you had the guy who could not defeat the guy who had no reason being elected. Some people would make that same point today.
Yeah. Anyway, that was just a question I had. I'll be watching the debate, no matter whether there's anybody sitting in the audience or
Trump
not.
is going to say something like, "How many? What they jack you up on before you came in here, Joe?"
Yes, I think he will say that.
What do you want?
Yeah,
tell us.
You must be on something. No, I think he will say that.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Next story.
Well, I bring this up because I have a piece of audio that factors into the program we're about to discuss. There is a story right now on FoxNews.com, and the headline is this: The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg spits after saying Trump's name to audience's delight. Goldberg has previously refused to even say Donald Trump's name directly. I bring up this story because a few weeks ago, Sunny Hostin and other ladies on The View speculated.
Ladies.
Females.
It's using the term.
Thank you.
Females on The View They speculated that Senator Tim Scott only got engaged so that way he would be considered for a running mate or some sort of cabinet position or whatnot. Tim Scott, Republican senator from South Carolina, longtime bachelor, is engaged to a lady, and they were both on Fox and Friends this morning. Ainsley Earhart asked Senator Tim Scott and his fiancée about the comments from Sonny and others on The View that they only got engaged so Tim could be a VP candidate. Here is what Senator Scott had to say, clip 10.
What was your response when the View, those ladies, when they suggested that you got engaged just so you could be a vice presidential candidate?
Yeah, they're just ridiculous, period. Honestly, it's not just the comments that they make about me. They get paid to tear people down.
Yeah, The View, I'm surprised it's lasted this long. Talking about,
It's very important to the 15 people still watching it.
well, I mean, they must have some audience. They've been around a long
No, they
time.
do.
I think part of what helps them is it's a terrible time slot. It competes with game shows like Price is Right. Great show, by the way. But anyway, it's a terrible time slot. I think part of what helps The View is that it gets people hot and bothered, and they tweet about it or they talk about it. Fox News does stories. I guarantee you the person that wrote the story for FoxNews.com about Whoopi spitting didn't actually see that happen because they were at work doing things.
Listen, I shut my mouth. The View delivered 2.5 million total viewers and ranks number one in households and total viewership during that time slot.
Yeah,
So-
that's
For a broadcast network.
I would say
cable TV's
that's
getting more.
middle of the day. I think Bill O'Reilly in his prime used to, and Tucker Carlson may have rivaled this too. They would be around 3 million.
Yeah.
3 million viewers a night, and they were the top show.
Right.
On that's okay. That's a lot of people, but it's not. All right. It's a lot of because of the diversity of options that people have today on TV and internet and all kind of things, streaming and Netflix and all these things. It's diluted the audience that any one event might pick up. So, whereas
splinters it. I mean, there's hundreds of channels.
Yeah, that's why I may be curious to see how many people tune in tonight because, anyway, but it is that time slot though during the day. What? How many million?
2.5 million.
Yeah, 2.5 million.
I understand what you're saying, but it says The View ranks number one in households and total viewers
during that time slot
among the daytime network TV talk shows and news programs. That was for the weekend. Was
all right.
checked.
We've reached our limit on the amount of time I want to spend talking about The View. Okay, so can we move on, Chris?
Well, I probably should have mentioned this before we got
more stories.
Oh no, I have plenty. Plenty here. Yes, let's do this. As we have reported on AFN, Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, has been largely blamed. Department of Homeland Security.
Okay.
Largely blamed for the lack of border control there. And Secretary Mayorkas has long claimed that the border is fine. There's no problems. He did go and have a press conference yesterday near the border. And I've got some audio here from Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, clip 9.
The safety and security of the American public is indeed our highest priority. We screen and vet individuals when we encounter them. If we learn of derogatory information subsequently, later in the process, then we take enforcement action accordingly. The individual who's responsible for a heinous criminal act is the criminal, and we need to bring the full force of the law to bear on that criminal.
Nobody is buying that based on the frequent news reports about illegal or undocumented migrants being arrested for allegedly doing things, including murder.
Listen, first of all, that's a lie. The top priority for the Biden administration is not the safety of the American people, or that border would be shut down and they would know exactly who's coming in here, and they would be stopping people who pose a danger to the American people. So that's just a lie. The top priority for the Biden administration is to bring as many people as possible into this nation who are coming from socialist countries so that they can become Democrats as a permanent voting bloc.
You just bingoed.
That is their top priority. Right. Second of all, I would say, and someone made the point on the show yesterday, that when Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says that the person who commits the crime is responsible for the crime, I would say, well, yes, okay, except that people who commit those crimes who should not be in this country would be committing those crimes somewhere else.
Right.
And third, I would say that that's not the argument that they make when it comes to gun crime. Okay, when it comes to guns, they want to talk about the policy that allows guns on the street. And in this case, they want to say it's the person who commits the crime. It's got nothing to do with the policy. So this is an issue that President Trump
and why, Ray, why this is becoming more of an issue now, it's becoming weekly that a news story breaks where a illegal immigrant has committed a violent crime, or immigrants. In the latest case was a 12-year-old girl in
Jocelyn
where was that?
In Northeast somewhere.
Well,
maybe in Texas.
That's not in the Northeast.
There have been several. Rachel Moran was in the Northeast. Jocelyn was down south in Texas.
One of them was in Houston.
Yes, and I do have audio from that judge.
Okay.
You mention this?
Okay, yeah. But listen, this guy. This is one of the issues that Trump should bring up tonight, if he's not asked about it. And I doubt he probably won't be. He needs to force this issue.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the violent crime being committed across America by illegal immigrants who Biden has invited in.
Yes,
by the millions. So that should be brought up because that's on the forefront of people's thinking, even in these big cities where they vote liberal, Democrat. Ray, what were you going to say?
Well, look, I think not only is what you said right, I think Donald Trump would be wise if he started. He's going to have an opening statement. They both get one. He's going to get the last word. He ought to start and end with immigration and crime because that is on the minds of the American people.
Right.
And he ought to say, there's a difference here, people. There is a difference.
Right. Yeah. What were you going to say, Chris?
Yes, there is a judge in Texas, Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo, if I pronounced her name correctly. She is in the news today, and I'll share this link on our Facebook page. She said, evil happens regardless of immigration status, while urging officials not to politicize the death of Jocelyn Nungare.
You need to listen to the quote. We're going to listen to the quote that you just gave us?
Yes, but there's more. Clip 7.
Yes, but there's more. There's more where that came from. Okay.
When the former president decided that he did not want Biden to have a win on immigration, he told his party to pull out of that agreement. So blaming things on the current immigration policy is absolutely political. And it really breaks my heart that people would politicize the sadness that tragedy. To me, it hurts even more that they're being used as pawns in this fight over immigration that doesn't even exist because Biden and McConnell agree. It's just that Trump won't let them move it forward.
All due respect, Judge, you said this issue shouldn't be politicized, but by pointing the finger at former President Trump and Republicans in Congress, aren't you politicizing it?
I think I answered the question. So, yeah, I mean, this is about Jocelyn. This is about her family, and if we want to,
Judge,
as I said, talk about immigration.
You didn't answer the question. Are you politicizing this by pointing the finger at Republicans and saying it's their fault, not the fault of the Biden administration that lifted the Remain in Mexico policies?
Again, the Biden administration reached an agreement with Leader McConnell to address this, but this is not about immigration. I'm not going to feed into that.
Listen, that wasn't a college student being interviewed on a man on the street campus.
What?
That was a judge.
Yes.
That was a judge in Houston. I'm guessing she was elected. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear her answer that?
That was pathetic. Okay, that was pathetic on a number of. It's hard to keep your cool at these kind of things. Not only who was that was interviewing, questioning her?
It was like a TV reporter from Houston,
Okay.
a local station, and he's talking to.
Well, he pinned her ears back on the question because she was clearly being a complete hypocrite by saying that the Republicans are politicizing it. So here, let me politicize it.
Yeah.
And toss it the other way. But how does a judge have so little capacity to understand the illogic of what she is saying? If these people who are committing these crimes, and we must say allegedly committing these crimes, if they were not in the country, they would be committing these crimes somewhere else. Now, that doesn't make committing it somewhere else a good thing. But it's a good thing for the parents who lost their 12-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, policies have consequences, and the Biden administration's policy is having heartbreaking consequences for the families that are losing loved ones to crimes committed by illegal immigrants who often have a rap sheet a mile long.
Listen, this young lady, this is just horrible. In Houston, Harris County, Texas, 12 years old, and the murderers who have not been convicted yet, so use the word alleged, two, the news reports say two undocumented, that means illegal, Venezuelan men. And then this judge that you just heard has the audacity to try to deflect from on the issue that these men shouldn't even be here. And then she gets into something about McConnell and
Trump won't let him pass the bill.
She gets into some kind of a policy thing where, and then she blames Trump for not being able to, you know what I'm saying?
Like Trump's been in office for the last 3.5 years, 4 years.
She sounds like Karine Jean-Pierre, like she's doing her job for the day.
Yeah.
Huh?
She is elected, by the way. I looked her up. She is the head of Harris County's governing body. She's the first woman to be elected county judge and only the second to be elected in the
So she was elected by the people.
Harris County is the third largest county in our nation.
Listen, there's another story right here on Fox News. An illegal Venezuelan migrant charged with shooting 2 New York City Police Department officers in Queens this month was indicted by a grand jury on Wednesday. 20 charges. Another Venezuelan.
Right.
Okay.
To go with that real quick, this is a short bite. We've got Congressman Jerry Nadler, known Democrat, talking to Fox News about illegals, clip 8.
If you look at the statistics, the crime rate among immigrants is far lower than the crime rate among native-born Americans. So the whole issue is wrong.
Aren't the crimes preventable, though, if these people don't have a right to be here in the first place?
I've said what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm sure you've said what you're going to say.
Ray, these liberal politicians and pundits, they got no answers.
It is hard to believe that they would even face the public and even attempt to answer questions. Like that woman down in Houston, that judge, she sounded lost. In fact, Tim, you said about Karine Jean-Pierre. That's who I thought that was when she started talking, because she sounded just like her, making the same arguments. Donald Trump has got to lead with immigration.
I like that
crime.
Idea. And then end with it.
And end with it.
Yeah, illegal immigration, the crime related to it, and crime in general, especially violent crime. And then you got to go with inflation. Think about it if you're Trump.
Yeah.
The impact of inflation on people. Those two things, those 2 or 3 things, I think is what Trump should focus on.
Yeah.
And you know how people answer questions even though they weren't asked it? That's what all politicians do.
Right.
Or in this case, we just heard politicians who can't answer questions.
Right.
Trump should force the issue if he has to on those issues I just mentioned. We'll be back momentarily.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
In Psalm 139, David writes that God formed his inward parts, that he was knit together in his mother's womb. He was fearfully and wonderfully made. What was true of David is surely true of you and me. In fact, it's true of every man and woman, every boy and girl, and every baby born and unborn. A thought from American Family Association.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The Supreme Court has issued a much-anticipated abortion ruling. Tanya J. Powers has more.
A day after a Supreme Court draft opinion allowing emergency abortions in Idaho was posted online prematurely, justices have made it an official ruling. This clears the way for Idaho hospitals to provide the procedures for now, but the case could eventually end up back before the court. While the matter plays out in lower courts, the justices temporarily reinstated a ruling that had allowed the emergency abortions without being subject to prosecution under Idaho's near-total ban. The issue centers around the federal act that requires certain hospitals to stabilize or transfer patients who need care. The case comes 2 years after the court overturned Roe v. Wade, which made abortion legal in every state.
And Fox News chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream says the court blocked a nationwide settlement with OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma over the opioid crisis, leaving the future of opioid victims' families uncertain.
There was a big settlement that came together that would take billions of dollars from the Sackler family and put it into trust accounts that essentially would be paid out to answer claims against harms. But this deal came together with not everybody who's a potential third-party claimant to this, meaning somebody who would have a claim, signing off on it. So the question was, did the bankruptcy code or court allow this to happen? In a very split decision here, it looks like the court is saying no. It says Congress may choose to add to the bankruptcy court special rules for opioid-related bankruptcies as it has for asbestos-related cases, or it may choose not to. Either way, if a policy decision like that is to be made, it is for Congress to make.
And the Supreme Court has stripped the Securities and Exchange Commission of a major tool in fighting securities fraud, in a decision that could also have far-reaching effects on other regulatory agencies. The justices ruled today that people accused by the SEC of fraud have the right to a jury trial in federal court. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump will face off tonight during the first debate of the general election. Trump spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt laid out what topics her team is hoping the CNN moderators ask the candidates.
We hope that they will focus on inflation and immigration, because poll after poll shows us that both of those issues are the number 1 and 2 issues in this country right now. And we expect that this will probably be a 3-on-1 fight tonight. We hope that it is not, again. And we hope that tonight will be a truly fair and honest debate focused on issues that matter to Americans across this country. But of course, we know how CNN has treated President Trump over the last 8 years. They have perpetuated many lies against him. And these moderators do have a history of bias. That's just the truth.
A black conservative political activist is making a stunning prediction related to black voter support for Donald Trump. Chad Groening has more.
While polls continue to show a strong lead for Democrats among the black electorate, multiple surveys reveal that President Biden's support among blacks has dipped between 15 and 20 percentage points since 2020 in key swing states and general election matchups. If these numbers are accurate and Trump holds his ground with other demographics, political pundits believe he could be hard to beat. P. Ray Easley is founder and chair of Chicago Red, which has the goal of moving citizens away from the liberal progressive failures that are bankrupting the city.
We do not want Joe Biden as our president. We can see the decline in our quality of life since he's been in office. We can see the fact that he has an open border that has now literally allowed rapists to come onto our streets, and now our children can't play outside. People who pay bills do not want Joe Biden. People who have children do not want Joe Biden. You would have to be crazy to want 4 more years of this chaos.
And Easley has her own prediction about how much black support Trump will receive in the fall.
At least 40%. At least 40%. Again, Joe is an utter failure. And people are starting to realize that their lives were better under President Trump, and they want that life back. I think that the people who are being polled are not necessarily everyday people, but the people I see at the grocery store, the people I see at the gas station, the ladies that I talk to at the nail shop, everybody is going Trump. He's not the social faux pas anymore.
I'm Chad Groening.
More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
I'm just lying here relaxing in a stream. I call it streaming.
Okay, you know that word already has another meaning, right?
AFA Streaming offers free and subscription video content. Titles like By Design, The God Who Speaks, and Asbury Revival, Desperate for More. You'll also find video versions of AFR programs. Visit afa.net and click on Streaming. Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio. I'm Tim with Ed, and Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us.
Good morning, everybody.
Ray's in Kansas City, Ray Pritchard. Hey, can you turn on Autumn's mic? Autumn? I'm going to put Autumn, our summer intern.
Well, wait a minute. Is that right? Can you do that?
Autumn, summer intern?
If you have a summer intern, can she be named Autumn? Do we have to rename her?
She's had the jokes. She's
she's doing better than Winter did last year. That was
our spring intern.
Yeah.
So, summer, Autumn, you're interning for us this summer here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your doing here now in the studio?
I'm just watching Mr. Brent right now.
Right, what's he doing?
Is he doing it right?
He's helping y'all.
He's running the control board?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what all those buttons do on that control board? Not yet?
I could probably guess.
Now you're going to embarrass her. She's never going to open up her mouth again.
Well, I'm just sharing my heart, Ed.
Okay. All right.
Can I do that?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. This is a safe place.
Anyway, so you're in high school, right?
Yes, sir.
Like Tupelo High School?
Yes, sir.
You're a junior, senior? What are you?
Going into senior year.
Okay, and then what are you going to do? College?
I don't know yet. Probably.
College?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now you golf too, right?
Yes, sir.
So you play on the high school golf team. Now, are you one of the top 5 players? Don't they use 5 players in a tournament or something?
The girls use 4, but yes, sir. I'm the top female.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you practice a lot, or no? You
Not
don't
really.
You know what? I don't want to hear that. I really don't like people who are naturally gifted and don't have to work and practice. As a golfer myself, a better answer would have been yes. I work my fanny off to get to where I am, and but no, you do practice. You're just. But anyway, who taught you to play?
My grandparents, they played for a really long time, but I kind of just was like,
I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this.
My sister plays.
I just took it up and started scoring 72. I really don't want to hear that.
I wish.
I'm just kidding. So what's your typical score?
Around 90s pretty much, but I did shoot
90s?
86 last year.
Is that good?
Well, yeah, but no. Listen, I can beat that score, but I'm going to tell you, Autumn, you have to learn how. No, you have to. May I talk?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I'm going to teach you, Autumn. You have to learn how to move your ball around when nobody's looking. Okay, because that really helps your score. Okay. So we can.
I got better than that. I can beat your score, and it'll only take me 9 holes.
Actually, there is a. For those who don't know, don't golf. There is a. Autumn plays golf the way you're supposed to play and score. People like me play golf the way you just do it with your buddies having fun.
Yeah.
And the rules are you set the rules.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So her 80, what'd you say you scored?
90. 86 is my lowest right now.
Okay, her 86 for me would probably be 106. Okay, something like 100.
Okay.
Something like that. But I'm not going to get out there and score 100. but even if it's legitimate, because it would damage my.
You wouldn't have fun.
It would damage my golf soul.
Golf
It
soul.
would be that, huh? It would.
Golf soul.
I can't do that. In fact, there are times when I have just quit keeping score. Huh?
There are times when it's just better.
It's better. You get the
better.
whole 14, you're shooting 97. You just say, no, I'm not doing this anymore to my
97 is great. It's a great score.
Not if you stop at 97 on the 14th hole.
Just don't tell him.
Anyway, we hope you get a scholarship.
Thank you.
We'll keep up with you, Autumn. But anyway, hope you're enjoying your internship here this time. What you got 3 or 4 more weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, Steve Paisley,
Hey,
Jordan.
morning, everybody.
Bring forth unto us the news.
I thank you. Sorry?
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
I want to bring you the latest in medical news. They have now a new drug that is supposed to help people sleep. It has some side effects, but it's actually pretty good. And I could use it because sometimes, your mind goes crazy at night. You can't get to sleep because you're thinking and thinking and thinking about the day. Well, this is what you need, Cut 12.
If you're having trouble sleeping, ask your doctor about Bidenica, the sleep aid made from 100% Joe Biden press conference.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Bidenica has a patented blend of confusion and forgetfulness that will calm the most overactive brains.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it.
When they sold out American jobs and killed the Keystone Pipeline, it kept me up all night worrying about how we'd pay our bills. But then I got Bidenica, and I've never slept better.
Sometimes when I get hopped up on sugar, my parents give me Bidenica so I pass out.
Warning, people who have used Bidenica have experienced rapid lying and an inability to secure the southern border. Others have hallucinated and fought breakfast cereals.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Ask your doctor if Bidenica is right for you.
Well, so there you go.
That's genius. Is that the thing you want to play at the end?
No, I got something else at the end.
Well, if the thing at the end is as good as that,
it's pretty good.
We need to stop talking serious stuff in time. That's hilarious.
What did you say, fighting cereal?
Fighting cereal.
Corn Pop, remember? Corn Pop. He was a bad dude. Who put that out?
It wasn't the Biden. It wasn't the Trump campaign. Although Trump did repost that on his
Babylon
B. Maybe, I don't know. Trump did repost it on his
funny.
social media truth channel.
That's Bidenica. It even sounds like a drug.
I know, right?
It's always those kinds
I've
of names.
often wondered who it is that comes up with the names for these drugs.
I'm sure they have a
marketing
team.
They're amazing.
They get paid big money to come up
All
with
right,
that
let
name.
me introduce you all to Taral Patel. He's a man who previously worked in the criminal division of Joe Biden's Justice Department. He was appointed to serve at the Office of White House Liaison and the White House Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Committee. Didn't even know they had
I was
one of
on
those.
that committee.
Yeah.
You were? Can you name it again?
Well, it was the Pacific Islander Asian.
I can't. I can't rename it.
Eskimo Committee. I was.
Well, he quit all that, began campaigning for a Houston area politician, and kind of made
he
the
what?
news.
He what now?
He started campaigning for a guy. He ran the campaign for a guy that was running for office in Houston.
Okay.
Right. So, but he made the news later on because he started getting these terribly racist posts,
like texts
and social media posts.
All right.
And they said things like, your
terrible.
family's a stain on the U.S., go back to Pakistan. I lived in Richmond my entire life, and I'm tired of you carpetbaggers from India and Pakistan.
That's terrible.
Oh, I know. You dirty Pakistani.
Dirty Pakistani.
No. So
there's no place in America for this kind of stuff.
No, there isn't. And so who
in the world would send that to
I don't know. The police looked into it, found an IP address, and surprisingly, it led back to Taran Patel.
Is it really that surprising?
No, not really. He's sending them to himself.
He was sending these racist
tweets to
and
himself.
texts and messages on
Right.
social media to himself.
Yes.
To prove a point.
Well, he said these before he got caught, he said these hateful images are from a place of deep, misguided fear incited by people like former President Donald Trump and the extremist
here we
Republican
go.
Party.
Here we go. So this is a Jussie Smollett.
It is a Smollett. It's exactly a Smollett. He was arrested by the Texas Rangers. It didn't have a very good batting average either, with allegations that he faked violent racist posts against himself in order to gain media attention.
Right?
Wow.
Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't. But boy, this is another Jussie Smollett all over again. Goodness.
This happens a lot, actually. These stories where somebody claims they're a victim of racism or homophobia, and it turns out they did it themselves, just to draw attention to
prove that the country is as racist as they really are themselves inside.
Yeah.
I've often said the demand for racism far exceeds the supply.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what. So the guy's name was Patel.
Patel.
He get out of the hotel business?
He did.
See.
He
What?
the campaign.
What did I say wrong?
Because it's not the hotel business, it's 7-Eleven.
Oh, 7-Eleven. That's what Joe Biden said.
Yes,
about
he did say that.
About Indians on his 7-Eleven.
They don't have a Indian or Pakistani accent. They can't own a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I
I thought Patel was an Indian name.
It is. Well,
I think
Pakistani.
there's some overlap there, Pakistan and
anyway.
So he called himself. a dirty
listen,
Pakistani.
about every third hotel in this country is owned by Mr. Patel.
Yes, I think in defense of what might appear to be our racism, okay, although it's ethnic,
How is owning a hotel racist?
No, what I'm saying is that the name Patel is like Smith in English speaking.
Oh yeah,
countries.
yeah. There's so many of them.
It's a very common
name.
So
Yeah.
We're not saying all Indians are named Patel any more than all Englishmen are named Smith.
But what would be wrong with that?
Nothing. I don't think it's racist.
I just looked it
Ethnically
up.
insensitive.
Half the Arab men are named Muhammad.
Yes.
I just looked it up. Patel means chief.
Chief, there you go.
Status name meaning village headman.
That's what Patel means?
That's what Patel means. Most common surname
Chief?
among Indian immigrants in the U.S.
The most common surname among
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Village chief. So if you meet a guy that's
What's
named
up,
Patel and you just want to say, hey, chief.
Yeah.
That would work. That would work. So, okay. We're finding out that, we've still got a couple astronauts stuck up on the U.S. space station.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
And they need to get back pretty soon because we've learned that Elon Musk has been given a contract to destroy the International Space Station.
With them in it?
No, hopefully they get off before this happens.
Hey, seriously, before you get to the Elon Musk part, there are two. There's a man and a woman astronaut, and they're up in the International Space Station.
Yes,
Is
they
that
are.
right?
Yes.
And they're waiting because something happened to the ship that was supposed to go get them. Is that true?
Yes, there's some hydrogen leaks. Actually, I think the ship is still docked to the space station.
Yeah, I got you.
They're going to get into it and come home, but they can't because it has problems with the boosters, the thrusters, and the leaks and
Are they going to be able to get them though? They're okay.
They will. Well, they say now that the 20th of July. It's like another month.
So it's going to be a month.
It's going to be another
month. This is not comforting if you're up there and they keep going. Yeah, we're going to get to you. We got 4th of July coming up though. Everybody's off work. So,
you don't want to go on a 4th of July rocket. They all explode.
Right. What are you going to say? Yeah.
Well, you can call an Uber, but it's going to take a while.
Right.
It would take quite a while.
It's going to take a while.
So to your point, they keep pushing it back.
Yeah, that's
so we
not
thought
very
it was going to be a
comforting.
few days, and then 4th of July, we're all tied up.
Right. Then
So
we
we're
gotta-
looking at the 20th. Is that good for you guys?
Yeah, we got a committee meeting on the 17th. So Maybe everybody be back. You got family vacations. I don't know.
They had better get it fixed before 2030 because that's when the space station expires, and Elon Musk is going to send up one of his rockets, and the thing will be designed to push the space station back down into Earth's atmosphere. They call it deorbiting, where it will burn up. This is the size of a football field.
I deorbit every time I get home after work. I understand this concept.
Well, there you go.
Deorbit. You know,
does your wife push you to it like Elon Musk thing?
Yeah, the International Space Station, I didn't realize it. Its launch date was November 20th, 1998.
Yeah, it's been up there a while.
Wow.
Yeah, what's the real estate market in that that part of space?
Well, it'll be pretty good once they raise the current.
Think we'll see it offered on HGTV?
A remodel?
On one of their shows, Love It or List It?
Yes.
This International Space Station?
Well, let's see here. The cost was $150 billion. Our budget is only $100 billion. I'm not sure we're going to be able to make that.
We are getting some money from the Chinese, though, so that should help.
So seriously, Elon Musk's company has been tasked with retrieving the.
They've been paid $843 million to build a so-called U.S. deorbit vehicle. And basically, it's going to sit and just take the space station and slow it down so it falls out of orbit and then kind of gently ease it at the right angle, the right place, because they can determine when that goes down, whether it's going to
and then
break
it just
apart
disintegrates?
Yes. And it's big, so probably there will be some pieces that will fall, but that's why they controlled the reentry, because it'll fall. They can make it so that the things fall in the Pacific somewhere instead of.
That's why I said in our story meeting this morning, because this is the way the Tagliano luck runs.
Yeah.
If a big piece is gonna fall somewhere in the Pacific, there will be a Vitagliano on a boat somewhere out there, and it will land on their boat. A 1 in a zillion shot.
All right. Well, okay. So you're going to go to.
I'm not. I'm going to be as far away from the Pacific as possible, which means it'll land wherever I am.
Good. Well, just make it someplace that you can make some money off of.
What do you think about Ed's optimistic view of life?
He may be right. What is it? 1 in a zillion?
1 in a zillion. Happen, I calculated.
It could happen, right?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. We all do this, don't we? And we look at our wives and we say, "What are the chances of that? Of that happening?"
Right.
All right. So
Elon Musk,
if anybody can do it, Elon Musk can.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next story.
All right. You guys ever run into somebody who thinks that they're something that they're not? This guy, I'm going to introduce you to William Gilchrist. He's 45 and he's from Mississippi, and he thought it'd be a cool idea to put some blue lights and a siren on his pickup truck, so that he could kind of go around and pull people over. And
I don't like where this is going.
Well,
as a Mississippian, I don't like the stereotype.
He pulled a couple people over and kind of like did the warning thing.
Yeah.
And then he found one car that he thought looked suspicious, a truck he thought looked suspicious, an SUV. So he pulls it over, but he didn't get out. He got a little chicken this time. The siren and the lights are going. He pulls up beside the guy, just gives him a look, and then takes off. Well, lo and behold, the SUV behind him takes off and starts following him and turns on his blue lights and siren.
Which were legit.
Which were real.
Uh-oh.
How old was this guy?
45 years old.
40. If you're
think you know better, right?
If you're 20, that sounds like a good idea. If you're a 20-year-old guy, that's whether it's Mississippi or not, Tim. That sounds like a good idea and a lot of fun at the time. If you're 45, you don't have an excuse. You should have learned better by then.
You think?
Ray, am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. College kids, high school kids do that kind of stunt. Not when you're 45.
He was from Greenville in the Delta. He was arrested late Wednesday and booked with false impersonation of a police officer, possession of a fraudulent identification, and improper lighting on his car.
He had like a cop badge?
Yeah, he went out and got a fake badge.
Oh, man.
That's a serious offense.
Yes,
he
it
was
is.
being held without bail on counterfeit identification charges.
I've wondered in the past, this happens from time to time, this kind of thing. You wonder if you were in a rural or remote area, I wouldn't stop.
I forget what the law is, and it differs from state to state. I think you are allowed I think they
Go to a
advise
lighted
you-
area or something.
I think they advise you, if you're not sure that it's a legitimate police officer behind you, especially young ladies, they advise this because some people will do this for sinister motives. Is they advise you to call 911.
That's a good point.
And say, would you please
Right.
check to see if this is a legitimate police officer behind me?
That's a good answer.
And please let them know that I'm looking for a safe place to pull over.
Yeah, that's
because some country roads have there's ditches on both sides.
Right.
So that's what I tell
Right,
women in my life.
So what you're saying is, Steve, this fella had instant karma.
Yeah. Yep. It caught him. It caught him.
He was doing a fake pullover, and the person who was fake pullover victim was actually a police officer.
Yep.
And so, anyway, next story.
All right, let's get to what I wanted to get to because this is too good. Okay, so are you guys familiar with the college athletics? They got the portal, and then they got this NIL, name, image,
We've
likeness.
seen the Dr. Pepper commercials.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Ray, have
basically,
you seen those, Ray?
I've seen them. Great.
Go ahead.
what you can do is the college athletes can sign contracts, endorsement contracts, like sneaker contracts and everything, and
I've signed some,
and they can make some money while they're in college. Well, the Iowa Pork Producers Association went and did an NIL deal with 4 players from the Iowa State football team. The players' names were Tommy Hammond, Tyler Moore, Miles Purchase, and Caleb Bacon. And when you line them up, it says Purchase, Moore, Hammond, Bacon.
Oh, good.
Is this for real?
This is for real.
Okay, that's good. That's clever.
It's
that's clever.
So,
Are you serious?
Purchase
I am
more
totally serious.
ham and bacon. Are these starters?
I don't know if they're starters or not.
They should be.
Yeah, I know, right?
They just made some money. That's good.
Whether they're starters or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Purchase more
The
ham and bacon. Very clever.
You know that's from 2023, but it doesn't matter.
Well, it's the best NIL deal of 2023,
yeah.
and when something
Gotcha.
comes along like this,
Iowa State's Steve's right. I didn't doubt you, Steve, but Tyler Moore, Miles, the name of the offensive lineman, Miles Purchase. Miles' is first name. Tyler Moore, Tommy Hammond, and Caleb Bacon. This is
good.
Sounds like they planned this.
Well, they probably looked down the roster to find. But now, Purchase does not sound like a
Purchase Moore Hammond
common
Bacon.
name.
Purchase, one last name. Moore, one last name. Hammond. No, I know.
They probably looked down the list and saw Bacon and said, we got to do something.
We can do
producers."
something.
So then they.
You know what? I was just kidding about having signed some endorsement deals. We should look into that, Tim.
Like
we should
an NIL deal.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
we should look into see
I'm
if
afraid
there are
that-
people out there who want to use our name and or image to sell their product.
What if you get sucked into the portal and you end up on FRC's radio program?
Yeah.
With the International Space Station coming down,
Coming down on
That's
top
right.
of you.
That's right.
The NIL. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Where'd you purchase more ham and bacon? Purchase more ham and bacon. So they're going to be the starting line.
You know, Steve, it worked. We've been talking about it for 2 or 3 minutes.
I know,
so
right?
It's a great thing.
And it's in Iowa.
Yes, perfect.
That's right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The top producing pork state in America, right there.
Well, folks, I'm just going to let y'all know I am available.
You are to endorse products?
To endorse products. I regularly drink a particular diet soda that will not be named by me until I get a deal.
You.
That's right.
That's right.
Let's say pay you enough. What sport you going to do there, though?
Oh no, this is not for sports. This is for
just
radio. This is just
okay,
radio.
just your notoriety.
Yeah,
straight up for the money.
I like Lost Pizza here in town.
There
They
you
got a
go.
couple of. So if you're listening, and if you're not, why not? I'm available.
Okay. Well, listen. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
Thanks to Ed and to Ray, Brent Creeley,
Chris Woodward,
Autumn the intern,
Autumn the Intern.
That
Should
sound
we
like
give her last name?
Well, it's that's like a wrestling name.
Autumn the Intern.
Autumn the Intern.
Sounds pretty ominous, doesn't it? If
Autumn the Summer Intern.
If she comes out from behind the curtain.
She springs out from behind the curtain?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Trivia Friday tomorrow.
And my father, your great-grandfather, fought